Good afternoon.
Nick Bosa, Player of the Month. Sure, you're not surprised, but aside from the numbers, what does he bring to the defense?
Nick, most of all, he brings a confidence and a true playmaker that every defense needs, right? Every defense, if you're going to be a great defense, right, you need that guy on the edge who can rush the passer, who can get at the quarterback at very critical moments and all times throughout the game. And that's what Nick provides for us, right? He can go close out games like he did on our last game versus the Saints, and that's what Nick provides. He's a big time playmaker in his league. No matter who he goes against, he always has a chance to win. So that's what he brings to our team.
The sacks are noticeable and all that, but how about the run defense? I mean, you guys have the top run defense in the league, and how much of a part does he play in that?
Yeah, for all of our defensive linemen, you can't rush the passer unless you stop the run. So the run game is always our first priority, and Nick is one of our better guys at setting the edge, right, resetting the line of scrimmage, and being able to make plays as well. So, Nick is your all-around player, right? When it comes to the run game, pass game, he can do it all, and that's what makes him a special player.
I'm sure you've seen all the some of the mic'd up things that are done with Nick, and some of the things that he says out there. Has he ever said anything during the course of the game that made you smile or laugh, or is it mostly, are you too intense for that?
No, we're always, we always keep it light, keep it fun. So, Nick is the same person. That's what's cool about him. Like the game, the moment is not too big, and he doesn't have to try to be someone that he's not. So he's himself, just like he is at practice, right? He's the same, has a little humor about himself, and he keeps it fun. I think that allows him to play the way he plays because he's just loose. He understands his opponent, understands who he's going against, and he knows how to beat that guy. And he has fun winning. So, it's always fun to see Nick making plays because, that's what I'm always trying to put him in positions to make even more plays. So just always talking to him about, hey, what can we do now? Change things up to get him in a different position to be able to make plays.
The Dolphins seem to have an ability to not only push the ball down the field, but get the ball out quick, which would seem to kind of run counter to each other. I realize a lot of that's intermediate stuff, but how are they able to kind of walk that line?
I think the Dolphins, their offense is very efficient because of the quarterback, right? Tua is very efficient at not only getting the ball out quick, but the accuracy and the way he delivers the ball that allows the offense to be as efficient as they are. And you add the playmakers in that he has with 10, 17, 31, like those guys all have elite speed and big-time playmaking ability where they can take an intermediate throw and they can make a guy miss and go to the house. Not all offenses have that, and I think that's where this offense really lights it up because each throw, it doesn't have to be a 50-yard bomb down the field. It can be a screen behind the line of scrimmage, and these guys have the speed and the playmaking ability to make guys miss and go to the house.
When you watch their offense on film, do you say that's our offensive scheme, or does it look different?
It is. It's our offensive scheme, and McDaniel he's done a really good job of mixing things up. Right, he's not too many plays are the same. He finds a way to get different players in different positions, a lot of different looks, a lot of different motions, right, to get defenses right confused and looking at all of these things that are going on. So he does a good job of, just as I look at it, is creating space, right, by moving guys around, making guys have to communicate and think, and then, he hits you with any type of play, whether it's run game, pass game. He makes the play action marry up with the run game, which makes it even more difficult. So just shout out to McD. He's doing a really good job there.
What's the challenge there in knowing that, as you prepare your guys, that stuff that they put on film could be stuff that they're using to set up something completely different?
Yeah, it's a lot of things that he probably can do that we haven't seen. So a lot of things you can't worry about for us. It always goes back. You probably hear me say this every week, but it goes back to us and just playing our fundamentals, our technique, and being exactly where we're supposed to be. Like that doesn't change for us each week. And I want to keep it consistent with our guys to make sure we're playing as fast as we can play. So it doesn't matter what they do or what they present. It doesn't matter. It's about us and how we handle those things.
What is it about Tyreek and his speed, it just makes him such a threat.
His speed is just different from anybody you've seen in the NFL, right? There's fast guys in the NFL, but then there's Tyreek speed, and it's just on another level, right? Nobody runs as fast as him. Nobody can, the routes that he's able to run, like he's like behind the line of scrimmage, and he's able to run deep routes from there. Like it's impressive, right? It's impressive, and it's a special talent that he has. No one else in the league has that ability that Tyreek has. His ability to separate. And not only is just his speed, but he is very strong. When he gets the ball in his hand, he is a very strong runner, and he can bounce off of tackles and make guys miss.
For 3 practices now, how does he look, first of all, and how important can it be to have him for the stretch run?
It's good to have Armstead back out at practice, right? It's just good to see him, but he's battled through to get back. It's been a long road for him, so it's just good to have him back out there. And if we can have him, on Sunday, of course, that's a plus for us. We get a all-pro player who can, help our defense. That would be a huge lift for us. So I'm excited for Armstead and just him working his way back in.
Perhaps the only criticism of your defense recently would be that you played the Chiefs, one of the best offenses in the NFL, and they scored 44. This is another high-powered offense. What did you guys learn or take away from that Chiefs experience that you can apply on Sunday?
From the Chiefs game, it's nothing. The guys just got to do their job and tackle. I would give you more detail, but it's simple as that, right? In the Chiefs game, what we didn't do, we didn't get off the field on third down because we didn't make plays. We busted coverages. We weren't where we were supposed to be. We didn't do our job. And when you don't do your job consistently, you'll get embarrassed as we did in that Chiefs game. And it's nothing that they did that surprised us. Like, it's guys just being on it each and every snap.
The way you've played since then, though, would indicate that game, I don't know if it had a positive effect, but you guys took the right things out of it.
Yeah, each week is different for me, right? Each week is different. Yeah, we had a bad week. It happens in the NFL, right? It happens. You have bad weeks, and that's what I look at the Chiefs game was. It was a bad week, and we did not play up to our standard. So it's about our guys, holding up our standard each and every week. And if we do that, right, if we make it tough on offenses to go against us because we're just doing what we're supposed to do. Not anybody playing hero ball or doing anything special. It's just guys just being where they're supposed to be, playing together, playing for each other. When we do that, we're a special unit.
What's the key on those intermediate crossers? Is it Fred and Dre getting back deep enough to kind of disrupt things in the middle there?
Yeah, I think with those, it's about it's not only the linebackers, it's safeties, it's corners, all the back 7 guys just being exactly where they're supposed to be, playing with the proper depth, and just being exactly where they're supposed to be, whichever coverage we play, just being detailed and being where you're supposed to be in coverage, and nobody has to do more than they're asked to do, right? And I think that's how you handle all the intermediates.
Given all the practice you get against that
Right.
in training camp, do you kind of feel that your defense is well versed in that sort of attack?
When you look at our defense, I think we're ready for whatever may come our way, right, man? And it's, I know the Dolphins are a really good offense, but it's things that we've seen before, right? And the way they're being effective, I said they are being efficient with timing, with placement of the ball, with accuracy. They are on it. So as well as they're on it, defensively, we have to be on it 10 times better as they are on it. And if we do that, we'll like the results of the game.
Familiarity with the players and the scheme make it easier to prepare or make it even more challenging?
It doesn't really cross my mind. Like once we step out there, it's not about those guys. It's about, it doesn't matter. It's just guys got on Dolphins jerseys, and we have to be where we're supposed to be, play physical, play fast, play together, and relentless. Everything else will take care of itself. It really doesn't matter who's under the helmet across from us. Like we're just excited to play another football game, right? We're excited to go out here in front of our fans and put out a good performance for them.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Chris, when you face those teams that put 6 men on the line of scrimmage, it's pretty obvious, I guess, what the challenges are to run against it, but is it possible to sustain success when you're outnumbered like that? Or what are you trying to do? What's your approach?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, it's 6 on the line, but it's still an 8-man box or a 7-man box, depending upon what they decide to play coverage-wise. So you just attack it like you attack any other defense with the techniques, what they present, how they do it. We had it, Chargers, we had it against Arizona. We've had it in numerous games. Even the Saints did it to a degree, sort of a five on the line of scrimmage, different than they've done. But yeah, no, it's every defense presents challenges. You're looking at how you attack the front, how you attack the coverages, how you're going to block support, how it ties in with your passing game, all those things. So it's a little different, but we've still managed to find a way. And as more teams do it too, you see more teams trying different things. Everybody's doing different things, so you find, oh, that's a good idea, and along those lines. So I don't, it's every front. I mean, over the course of time, every front presents challenges. It could be just a straight 4-down line, a 5-down line, 6-down, whatever it is. Pressures, movements. There's just always something that's a challenge every week. And so this week, how the style of defense that they play it very well. And what you mentioned is a challenge.
How close are you with Mike McDaniel, and how proud are you of the success he's had so far?
Yeah, Mike, I was very fortunate. Mike and I worked together in 2010 without going through the whole history, but I was in his wedding, actually, when he got married, and I was one of his groomsmen. I was the oldest groomsman, for sure. But I was in the wedding, and I think I acted the youngest at the time. It was fun, but yeah, Mike and I grew very close. It was great to get to know him, because he was I think he's instrumental in Kyle's and my relationship with Kyle, because I think that in 2011 when he got there, he gravitated to the offensive line room. The story's been told before, and so he listened and learned whatever he had some background in offensive line play and run game, but he and I just learned together, and we worked together closely. And then what happened in game plan days is that I would sit in my office and I'd be doing the game planning and doing the things for the offensive line, and Kyle would be in his office doing the thing for the passing game. And Mike would take the run list down to Kyle, and then Kyle. So Mike was like a ping pong ball between me and Kyle. And half the time, if Kyle didn't like the ideas I was going down there, he'd yell at Mike for it. Then Mike would come back and say, well, Kyle didn't like. So he kind of saved mine and Kyle's relationship, because we didn't have to argue. Mike was like, I'd yell at him, and, well, you go back and tell him, and back and forth like that. And it wasn't that bad, but that's what Mike's role was for us. And he was able to work between the two of us, and then he learned in the process. I loved what Mike did too, also in Washington, going back there, was that he would come in on Monday all fired up, because he'd been working ahead. He'd been taking off all of the runs of the upcoming week's team and going into non-breakdown games and games that we'd talked about researching. And he'd come in with 20 ideas, and I hadn't even graded the tape from the previous game. I say, Mike, just shut up, man. Just give me a minute to rest. And he, no, you got to look at this. We got to try this. This is a really cool idea, and so on and so forth. So we forged, a really good relationship at that point. It was professional and it was personal as well, and we've remained good friends. I'm not surprised that he's no. Mike's not. Mike is a very, very talented guy, and it's only a matter of time before guys like that with that much talent get an opportunity.
How pleasing was when you went back and looked at it on film, the last 6-18, when you didn't give the ball back, they knew you were going to run, you ran it anyway. It's as far as an offensive line coach, that's got to be nirvana.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of our. We didn't give up the sacks, but Jimmy got hit too much on Sunday, and so there was a lot of reasons to be upset. But that last 6-18 wiped it all away for me. You just take that ball, and they kind of know what's coming. Now, and obviously it's not bragging. I never want to come across guys that say, "No, hooray for it." But it is nice to be able to accomplish something like that. You just don't want your defense to have to go back on the field. You want to be able to ice a game. We call it 4-minute offense. You like to get that ball with 4 minutes left, get a couple first downs, get it to the 2-minute warning, and if they've used their timeouts, you can kneel it out. So the 4-minute offense is a big part of it. To do it with 6 minutes left is really good. I always laughed when I coached in Tampa, and those great defenses in the years in Tampa with Tony Dungy and Monty Kiffin run the defense, and obviously Tomlin and all those guys were there. The classic was that, we always would say we started 4-minute offense if we had a 3-point lead. So it might be the middle of the third quarter, second, we'd be running the ball every single down, just running it out, so we knew they weren't going to score on the defense. Brian Billick did that when he was in Baltimore, when he had that great defense here. They won the Super Bowl, man. They'd get a 3-point lead, and it was you're grinding it out. And so it's always fun to be able to do that. Now, it's a lot of satisfaction. In a game where we really hadn't run the ball very well, hadn't protected, it was a battle. It was a grind. It was a tough, hard-fought game between two really physical football teams. And so to be able to do that at the end was pretty cool.
We've asked you about Jordan Mason in the past, and you said you got to make sure he's ready for the bright lights and the big moment. Did he answer some of those questions at the end?
He did a great job. I mean, I think Kyle mentioned it. The only worry is you put him in there and hold on the football. You've been sitting on the sideline all day, and then all of a sudden you're out there. But, they practice ball security all the time. Coach Turner and Coach Lynn do a great job with that. And I said before, these guys have worked really, really hard. The thing about Mace is, man, he's busted his butt all year long, done a great job, been prepared for an opportunity. When he gets the opportunity, he's making the most of it. So I'm really excited for him. And he did a nice job in that moment. It was nice to be able to get Christian out, have a guy in there that was able to handle it and do the running and pound it out in those last 6 minutes.
I'm sure both him and Davis Price are in the mix this week to get some carries. How does that decision-making process go among you and Anthony and Bobby and Kyle about which young guy, gets, the most opportunities on offense?
Well, I mean, that's a decision that we're in there talking today, and we're watching the tape, and you see him make a run, and you ask a question, how's this guy doing? How's he see him in the meeting room this week? How's he doing with the game plan? And then it kind of levels itself off. And you say, this guy's running better, this guy's, and so it's just it really is kind of a collaborative effort. We just talk it out, and then during the game, it's like, hey, somebody seems to have a hot hand, or somebody doesn't. He's missed the hole, or he tweaks something on specialty. You just don't know. There's a lot of variables. So we'll just see how it goes, how it plays out.
Chris, the block that Tyler Kroft had on Debo's touchdown run against the Cardinals, where he moves around, has a skate technique. How long has that? I mean, how long have you coached that, or how long has that kind of been around, as far as you know?
I don't know. I don't. I hesitate to ever say somebody, especially if I'm around it, invented anything, because it was probably done before for sure. But that technique and whatever was done, I've seen it in various forms and shapes in that play. I remember seeing it back, I don't know when, I think it's when Kubiak was in Houston. I don't know how long they've been doing it, and I don't know if they originated it. But yeah, it's a cool technique. It's a nice way. Teams have done it before, where you start one way, come back the other way, setting up a play. It's a play off a play, and you're trying to give a little fake, like you're doing one thing and get them to play it, then you come back and do something else. So it's a cool technique. It's a cool play when it works, and so.
It's worked quite a bit.
Yeah, it's been a good play for us, and it's so much of some plays in football are predicated on the look, and sometimes you wait. I remember I think it was that play or a similar play against the Rams a couple years ago. We must have called 3 plays trying to get that play run, but we could only run it against a certain look, and so we kept running these other plays chasing, trying to get that play run, and we never did get it run because the look never presented. You're like, we can't keep calling these other plays. We're trying to get that play called, but we need this look, and we're not getting it, so we have to get away from it. So a lot goes into it. It's a cool play. It's a cool technique when it works. It's a good deal.
How would you describe everyone's energy out in the rain today?
That was great. It's sometimes a little change, the cold weather, rain. So I was not doing it every day. It just kind of, it's a little adversity, whatever it is. The guys were great. It was a very energetic practice today. Luckily for us, the fields were in really, really good shape. So even though it had been raining, that's always the concern, is the rain's one thing and dealing with a wet ball and sloppy, but it's the field. And if the field gets unmanageable, then you start worrying about injury and things like that. And, fortunately, we came out of it in pretty good shape. And it was great energy today, really good energy. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it, guys.